GM, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wake and Jake. I'm here with the newly minted groom, Jake and Bake. What's up, bro? How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are we
Yes,
feeling?
feeling great. Yeah, got married over the weekend. Was a great celebration for sure. Feeling nice and invigorated in this new married life. But yeah, it was certainly a lot of work to get the wedding going and stuff. I'm happy for that all to be out of the way now. Can focus more on market and MVHQ stuff. So pumped about that, man. How are you doing? How's the weekend?
Good, man. It's been I'm good personally. Everything's great. It's been a little bit of a up and down weekend for crypto though, and week in general. I mean, we saw some good pumps and everybody was happy about that. But then we also saw some disturbing things on chain that we'll get to. It's been a bit of an up and down week, but I'm excited to get here and get to cover it all and stuff and give the people a bit of an overview of what's been going on. But in general, yeah, feeling good, man. It's been a good week. I don't think we've had many bad weeks lately, so it's been fun. There's always something to do on chain, and there's always something going on in Web3. So it's kept things rather exciting. Like we see now, Bitcoin did some good numbers, came down a little bit, and yeah, it's been fun, man. Um, Bitcoin actually, since we always open up with Bitcoin, I'm looking at the numbers here, and it looks like we're almost like it almost looks like we're flat on the week, but we had a crazy week. It ran up to almost 100K and came back down to the 95K range. So it's kind of like misleading when we compare week to week. But when we look at the highs, we had like a really good run after our show. I think it was Tuesday and Wednesday. The Bitcoin just started ripping, man. I don't know if you had a bit of a chance to look at the macro side and stuff, and you want to give us
Yep.
your view on it.
Yeah, yeah, it is has been pretty crazy, huh? Yeah, going through Bitcoin is still up 3.6% on the week, ETH up 10%, Solana basically flat, down 0.3 as I'm looking at it right now. Bitcoin sitting at 95.5 as we're going through this and recording. But yeah, there's a lot of hope that we would break um, six digits. Get to that 100K mark for Bitcoin over the past week. I think what we recorded on the 19th. Was that the Monday?
I
Yeah,
think it was the
or
18. Yeah.
18th. So yeah, I mean we were just at like 91K or so, 90, yeah, 91, 92K during that time, and had quite the run up from then. Looked really good. Just couldn't. I mean, we just kept bouncing off, like in the 99K area. Um, there came out a report that Sailor, filed that he was a huge buyer in that range. I think he bought about 5 billion worth of Bitcoin, average 97,860. So he was kind of buying
Wow.
a lot of that top area in huge amounts, and that wasn't able to push us over the top. And I think we have retraced quite a bit after that report because it's kind of like, well, if Sailor was buying an insane amount and that still didn't do it, then the market is looking a little weak, um, at least on the low time frames. So we've kind of gotten quite a pullback as a result from that sense, and I'm seeing some analysis that we might get even further here. So yeah, so that's interesting. I think it's really kind of making me think back to the Kobe tweet that he came out with. I think when we had first broke all time high and got to around like high 70s, 80K or whatever. He tweeted 80K to 100K is the hard road, and 100K to a 250K is the easy road. Um, and it was looking like after that tweet that was not going to be right. That 100K would be hit in ease. We were kind of just pumping like crazy up into it, but have gotten some resistance. Just under that 100K mark. I think CoinGecko's telling me that the all-time high was 99,650 for Bitcoin. Just too many people selling top of that area, of that psychological resistance points of 100K. And it's just kind of, yeah, it's just making me remind me that, look, we certainly could get some pullbacks. We've been really hot since that all-time high break. Um, really since before that. I mean, we kind of zoomed up into all-time high area, I think from around like 60K or so. If I'm looking back here. Yeah, I mean, it was basically like up only from like 60K or so. Um, up into 99K. So I think it's good to kind of zoom out at times and realize like how much we've kind of gone crazy with the pump, like in that we can still have a decent pullback and still be firmly in bullish territory. Um, so I'm kind of expecting right now that we get a bit of that this pullback continues a bit more from what I'm seeing. Um, and I'm playing it a bit safe, kind of just like waiting in my hands, and seeing what happens, especially for Bitcoin. Um, I'm seeing a lot of smart traders talk about alt season, and alts are showing a little bit more strength than what Bitcoin has been showing as well. Um, ETH, especially, has been kind of the leader. It's so hard to believe in ETH because we've seen these fake outs in the past with ETH, but 350 or so is kind of like the big resistance point, like around that area. And once it got broke, that's also kind of the support as well. And then the next resistance isn't until 4K, and it seems like ETH is going to be leading the way here, and that ETH Bitcoin ratio has largely bottomed, at least from what I'm seeing. From again, I'm not a macro expert by any means. I kind of just follow people who are. Donald, kind of the main one, talking about. He tweeted this morning that he was an ETH maxi now for the rest of this cycle. Here's the Let me link this tweet in voice hangout chat.
Oh, that's huge.
He says, I'm gonna be ETH maxi now for the rest of the cycle. It's the right amount of relative risk versus high reward that I like. There's probably still more money to be traded elsewhere, like possibly Doge and XRP, and maybe some ETH altcoins as well, some ETH betas. Um, but obviously, you can get a lot bigger size in for ETH, and if you're a whale, then that's where you're gonna go to. Um, so yeah, it's looking. I'd say it's looking shakier at the moment for low time frames, but I still feel really good about how, in my opinion, I still think we're very much still like early cycle. Don is also, I should say, Don is also talking about how we aren't early cycle. He thinks we might be later cycle, but he also said that he's also wrong about that earlier when we were kind of ranging. He said, "Oh, this might be like the top of the cycle." Um, so I don't know. I know Kobe is of the belief, who I also have a lot of respect for, that we are still very early and we haven't even really started the cycle. And he has like incredibly high targets for Bitcoin. He's like I said, at least 250K. He even said like a million, I think, at one point. I wasn't sure if he was memeing or not. Um, but yeah, I'll stop there for a second.
Yeah, I think Kobe's not wrong. I mean, eventually, if there's going to be more buy pressure from like big entities, 250 seems reasonable, and 100K was always going to be the hardest mental barrier to break. And I know a lot of people probably have like the sell walls must be huge, like the sell orders must be huge at 100K. It was always going to be very hard to break. I was hoping we'd at least tap it. I thought like give us some hope, just tap it 100.1K, just, but it never got there. I didn't know this about Michael Saylor though. That's crazy. Like he was really trying to be the hero here and take us over because he knows that it's also a mental barrier, and he knows that as soon as we crack it, it's just gonna be like breaking open a dam, and it's gonna flow, right? So but yeah, I mean, still very bullish. The only thing that really doomed us was Jim Cramer calling top, telling everybody that it's a great buy at 100K. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, here we go, 95K incoming. We're gonna bounce off that so hard now, and I think it was like instant. As soon as he tweeted that, like as soon as he talked about that, I mean, that was it. It just became so like it felt like the wind turned instantly, and it just like, oh, we're not gonna play the 99K range anymore. Let's dump. So yeah, it was a bit of a mess. As soon as you tweeted that, I think a lot of people held their breaths. But again, I think it's gonna be temporary. I don't know where we're gonna land. I don't know how low we're gonna go. We might drop down into the 80s. Um, but if, I mean, long term, I'm not worried at all about Bitcoin or crypto in general. If anything, this just allowed for alts to run. We always see it where when the main coin runs, you know what I mean, and starts taking a breath and cooling off, alts start running, ETH starts catching up, and I'm hoping this is going to make a lot of people cope about ETH because it deserves to have its day, and I think it might finally be here. I mean, it's still not showing like like incredible strength, and I still don't see as much action on ETH as I'd like, but maybe that's just a matter of let's get ETH pumping, and then maybe people will start taking ETH seriously again and start playing on the chain because that's kind of what we saw with Solana too, where in the $10 range nobody wanted it, but the tech was exactly the same. And when it started hitting the 30, 40, 50, $60 range again and bouncing back up to respectable levels, then people started taking it seriously again. So I think it's just a matter of getting ETH into the positives, and money will start flowing into the chain and onto NFTs again, and all season will start up and all that. Like that whole flywheel will start up again. But yeah, that's just how I see it. Any questions from chat, or maybe different opinions, maybe a different view of alt season or Bitcoin in general?
I have one comment. Hey guys, Jam, how we doing?
What's up, Aslo? How are you, bro?
So
Good. Hey guys, I do have one comment to build on top, which is, and it's just my opinion, and I hope I don't get tomatoes thrown at me for this, but I just think that the risk reward in the market has adjusted in the past 2 or 3 days. And that's not saying memes are not a thing or not going to be a thing. They're definitely going to be a thing and definitely going to be big. But when you're seeing the ripples and the old coin, you name it, right? And they're going up by 20, 30, 50% a day, etc. Like, and they're, you know, real in quotes, right? In terms of fundamentals, like it a little bit shifts the dynamic, I feel like, to some extent. So I know that's not like a popular thing to say in in the short time frames, but it feels a little bit like that to me.
Oh, I agree. I mean, it's fun to see the coins of old, right? The real altcoins that actually have tangible value and a reason to exist bump up. I mean, they're like we always say, a rising tide lifts all boats. People also, when they flow back into a market that they haven't been in, like us, in the trenches and been in day out and probably don't touch memes and are a bit more respectable as traders, they'll look at things like that, like XRP and others, right? So it's just natural that they come up. And it's good to see. I mean, it shows strength in the entire market, not just the main coins. And it's part of a cycle. It just we'll always see main coins run, then a bit of the alts, and then from there, people that like to be a little bit more like to gamble a little more, will play into meme coins and into like shit coins. But that doesn't mean that meme coins haven't become an altcoin. I think they are an altcoin. A lot of the top ones are considered an altcoin, and arguably might have the same amount of like value or utility, just more on the community side, right? But yeah, I mean, it's just fun to see that things are moving. So I agree with you, Oslo. I don't think you're wrong. And if I throw tomatoes, it's just for fun, bro. It's not because I think you're wrong. Yeah, what we're seeing too on Bitcoin is like talking about alts and stuff. The cool off of Bitcoin, I think, will be good for ordinals and be good for runes. I think people maybe now will be less focused on, oh my god, I can't believe I'm using this $100,000 asset to buy, uh, to use like like as a tool to buy stuff, right? And oh, I can't believe I'm actually gonna spend some of my Bitcoin to buy some ordinals. Maybe they'll just get bored of holding Bitcoin if it goes sideways for a while, and they'll just start spending it on ordinals and thinking, hey, maybe this is a good way of compounding my investment. So I think like we used to see in ETH, this might be a good uh we might see a good inflow into ordinals and runes. We saw it actually while Bitcoin was pumping, which completely surprised me. But when we started getting closer to the 100K range, I felt like we got a little cold on the runes and ordinals, and they started tanking a little bit. Uh, but they hit a pretty respectable floor, and I think now maybe people will see that and be like, "Hey, 13.13 for a puppet sounds good. I mean, or point 0.1 for a node monkey, that sounds cheap. Maybe they start bidding those again." I'm seeing a lot of opportunity here. I'm looking at them now, and yeah, it just looks like across the board, even on Ethereum, they're cheap still. Yeah, monkeys are at point 0.1, puppets are at point 0.13. They're a little bit stronger than yesterday, but I feel like they're low, man. We saw during the run of during the run of Bitcoin, I think puppets got to point 0.2. So for anybody that's looking for opportunity and plays on ordinals, they might look at this as a good little way of increasing their Bitcoin stack while Bitcoin is sideways, right? They'll think, oh, maybe I could buy this for point 0.13 and maybe I can sell it before Bitcoin pumps again. So yeah, I'm seeing opportunity in the markets. We just need to focus our like shift our focus a little bit and look at it from a different angle for a little while here. Uh, that doesn't mean that we're not gonna somehow pump next week because of news or whatever back up to 100K and maybe break through. But I just think, yeah, I think the focus is gonna shift a little bit, and as we go sideways, maybe other stuff starts pumping like ordinals or Ethereum or whatever other stuff. Anything
Yeah,
to
I
add
like
about
that
that?
call.
Yeah.
I think we saw a lot with last cycle. That was kind of like a common theme where either if we were pumping or if we were dumping, like usually that was bad for NFTs. And when price was kind of stagnant and ranging, that was kind of usually the best outcome. And I think that's a good call. I think we probably could be a little bit stagnant here as we got rejected from 100K. Maybe we bleed a little bit, maybe we bounce back. I could see a little bit of consolidation at least from bigger coins. And after such a violent move, that we've had recently. And if that persists, I could see, people kind of turning focus to other alternative assets to try and make a little money in the short to medium term. And yeah, I mean NFTs are still cheap. I like them as a cycle play for sure. I still haven't like really fully like been super excited about NFTs. I just think it's more of like a later cycle thing where when people are more flush with cash, they're more willing to flex, right? We've talked about this thesis on past shows, or at least I have, about like NFTs are hot when people are doing well because they want to be able to flex, whatever wealth that they made. Usually NFTs are a way to do that, in the digital space. So it's, in my opinion, it makes more sense to be something that's hotter later in the cycle. And if we do think this is earlier in the cycle, then maybe it won't be. But that also means if you do think it's going to happen eventually, then that means you can at least get probably a good entry at this time, as long as it's the right project. I guess that's the risk, on if it's still going to be the hot project. Come when we actually do get the big pump for NFT stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like, I mean, I'm still holding so much. I'm sure that's a problem that a few of us have, but I'm still holding way too much from last cycle. So I'll be very excited when ETH NFTs pump again, right? I have a lot that I don't want to hold next cycle. Like, there's no way I'm round tripping apes again, and no way I'm round. Like, I love pudgy penguins, but I mean, if they start running to the 15-20 ETH range, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna be a holder anymore. Like, I think that's one thing a lot of us learned is that maybe we were a little bit too bullish on them, and we didn't expect some of these big drops during the bear. And yeah, but opportunity is there if you wanna get in, I think, and not do too much else in the market. The floors have been really steady. Like pudges have been ranging between 10 and 12 ETH forever now. Apes, same thing. They've been between 10 and 13 ETH forever now. And Azuki's same thing around the 4 or 5 ETH range. The only ones that have been really doing, actually, if you think about it, they've been ranging also, but they've been outperforming the Miladies, or up to 6 ETH and more sometimes. It's been I think it's bullish when floors stay a certain price and you don't see really like a huge drop from where they are. I mean, to me they've bottomed, and I don't think they're gonna go much lower unless ETH rips to like 10K overnight and all of a sudden everybody's looking at these as overvalued. But in general, I think they're in a good position, and I'm not saying go and buy all the NFTs you see because we don't know when they're gonna pump. But I just think that if people are bidding, it's not the worst thing because the floors have been established, and over time, I think we see volume come back into NFTs. So yeah, just always zig when people are zagging. I guess everybody's looking at at shitcoins and losing money there, maybe you should be looking at what's next, or what you think might be a safer play. Because yeah, we've been seeing. We're gonna get into that, but we've been seeing a lot of weird shit on shitcoins. But anyway, um, yeah, that's it. That's all I got on NFTs. If anybody has actually, yeah, if anybody has anything else, any point of view, we can talk about it now, and then we'll get into something else. Anybody in chat? Any ETH max? Any NFT max is still among us? Nope. Sounds like everybody's quiet. Yeah. So I knew
Um,
you were gonna say something. ETH NFTs
sorry,
for
yeah,
life.
you guys
Let's
can go
go
ahead. I
ahead,
was
man.
gonna change the subject
Oh, go
if
ahead. I'm
anyone.
guessing. Did you want to get into Pirate Nation since we're talking about NFTs, or
No, no, I wasn't gonna talk about that yet. I wanted to talk about while we're at least kind of on coins still.
okay, cool.
On alt season, in general, I think um there's a lot of buzz about and from smart people around like Dino coins, which are like old coins, if you will, that that are like dinosaurs, obviously dinosaurs, um, that have kind of bottomed out quite a bit. They've been bleeding for a long time, and a lot of the charts look pretty good where they're breaking from their original downtrend. Like XRP is kind of the most, the one that's kind of like the glaring obvious one, where it's broke out quite a bit, showing a ton of strength. Ada even is one. Cardano, as much as we hated, but that would obviously be like the most hated rally right there if Cardano started ripping. Um, and then other stuff I wanted to point out just in case, people are trading like these altcoins and stuff too. Um, here's a tweet from OGD Farmer. I saw, I can't remember who the other person was, but I saw another really respected trader, call it these similar stuff. Um, and also Brad posted it in crypto trading too, that he liked, especially TIA, but like these Cosmos type coins, TIA or Celestia, DYM. Um, they've all sort of been bleeding like crazy, and have since had a good amount of unlocks already, and have now started a recent uptrend. So if we do get it all season, I think these coins look decently strong. I also want to call it Blur, which I obviously have to always preference. I'm an investor in Blur, but I've seen some smart people. I think I can't remember who it was that called out Blur. I'd have to find the tweet, but kind of similar coins like that where they still have like a decent amount of usage. Like obviously Blur is still like, if you look at the metrics, it's still, I think, has the top volume for NFT marketplaces, at least on ETH. Um, and there's been a lot of unlocks for that already, and the price has been depressed like crazy and is starting to show some strength now. If you look at the weekly on Blur, I think it's up like, or at least the daily. What's Blur at? Let's see. Yeah, it's up like
0.31.
23% in the
Yeah.
week. Um, so stuff like that. Even ApeCoin would be another one, kind of on a similar note, where ApeCoin's up about 15% on the week too. They're obviously still building stuff. They have 8chain and all that. Where there's some utility to the coin too. Blur's been teasing obviously that fee switch. I honestly I haven't been keeping up with the governance of that, but hopefully there was some kind of proposal about turning on. I can't remember exactly what the fee was. Maybe it was like 0.5% or something like that. A fee for all transactions on Blur, and that would go to Blur stakers. So that would obviously be bullish for the coin. If because there's currently like no utility besides governance for Blur, the coin. Um, so yeah, I think stuff like that where it's been quite a long time since they launched, and there's been quite a lot of unlocks since they launched, right? And prices obviously gotten super depressed from what the all-time high was, down like 80-90% or whatever, and it's starting to break what from their uptrend, and there's a lot of supply out on the market now. I think stuff like that has a decent chance to do well over the coming months if we do obviously get that promised alt season.
Yeah, I like the blur call. I haven't sold any of my unlocks in a while now. I've just been accumulating because I feel like if ETH runs again, then I'll be selling them the coins a lot higher. And yeah, I just think they're gonna be shipping things now that we're heating up, right? And this is just me speculating, but what says they don't get off of just EVM and start touching other chains too? I mean, a lot of the volumes going into Sol and stuff, they have the devs to do it. You know, if they really wanted to expand. So we know that they like to just drop bombs on us, and that might be one of them that comes up. This is just me speculating. Obviously, it's not anything I've seen that leads to that, but I've always thought that just staying on ETH itself is kind of like not the best, and maybe they start shipping new stuff. And regarding unlocks, they've gotten smaller, right? There's the faucet's closing, and there's a lot less coins coming out every single month. Where so I feel like that usually causes a squeeze over time, where if bullishness comes back to that sector and there's a lot less coins being released every single month, then we start seeing a squeeze upwards. So that's probably what's happening here with Blur too. But yeah, I think it's just undervalued, and there's a lot less unlocks. And that actually Dim was a good call. I have a lot of that too. I'm gonna keep an eye on that. I see that it's been bumping. It's up almost 2x in a week. So there's yeah, a lot of vaults running, a lot of bags to unload, and I hope it's just the beginning. I think it is just the beginning. I agree that I kind of agree with Kobe that there's still a long way to go, but I'm trying to be a bit cautious too, where I'm not just gonna be a moon boy this cycle, and I am gonna sell as we go because you don't want to be stuck like last year, just holding the bag, right? Like last cycle. So I'm gonna be a little bit in the middle there, where I'm crazy bullish about crypto in general, but I'm also gonna be like maybe unloading some of my bags as we go this time, so I don't get caught holding everything to the end.
I had a line of thinking, guys. I heard the other day that I really really liked for whatever it's worth. Do you mind if I share it?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Yes. So it went something like this, right? So first off, there's two, groups of tokens that exist out there, right? We're all like very knee deep in the space, right? So we're, we were with dim staking and all this other bullshit that we went through, right? So we're very, very close to it, right? But in essence, there's like the newer tokens that exist, which we're all familiar with, and there's like the old incumbent tokens that exist, right? And at this stage of this cycle right now, the normies all saw, BTC run up to 90 something. And so of course, I'm getting personally messages about, oh shit, my lumens just went up or some shit, the kind of stuff that we would laugh about, right? But it's real, it exists. And the reality is that those people, the normies, they only know the old stuff. They don't know the new stuff, right? So at this stage of the cycle right now, that's what they're familiar with and what they're comfortable with. And on top of that, many of the apps that exist, like the Robinhoods of the world and those places, have most of the old stuff as well. If you just go look up what's sellable, what's buyable in those places. And on top of that, those people have far more money uh, as an aggregate than we do as a crypto community, I believe, right? And then you layer on top of that ETFs and so on and so forth. So at the stage we're at right now, it's not surprising that the old stuff is running, and I think the new stuff will have time to run, probably may even start. But it was very. I didn't come up with that. That's me kind of listening to, I guess, two people I put together. The line of logic made a lot of sense to me.
Yep, agreed. Just I guess in a bull, so many people have like there's so many different types of people and different investors, let's call them, that look at different things, and it just feels like so much could happen. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be one thing. It's going to be everything's going to have its time in the light, and even new narratives. Um, and it's going to be it's going to be fun for everybody. But again, it all comes down to the exits that you take, and I think crypto is going to have a long life, and it's going to be great. But you also got to be smart about exiting some of the stuff you're in and maybe consolidating into the more longer term stuff as you grow your portfolio. So yeah, but I'm using everything as like I'm invested in a lot of different projects, and I hope they unlock soon, and even old ones are unlocking, and I'm using them most of the times. I'm just selling them and getting back into like the big three coins, right? So I'm just my mentality is not at the same place as it was last year when I was trying 100 different things. I'm still trying things, but with the goal of growing my stack in those main three coins.
Yeah. Fully agree. While we're still on the subject, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I remember now. We talked about like the normie um inflow last week. Um and I think that was correct. I would say, but I wanna um kind of push back, especially on like if you just look at the metrics, like I think we did have a pretty good inflow, especially with uh you saw if you're in the shitcoin streets, you certainly saw like all these like TikTok stuff running, and a lot of TikTok big like streamers and stuff start to talk about meme coins. And if you're on TikTok, you saw a lot of TikTok stuff get a ton of engagement as well. So you could see from that. And then also for if you track stuff like app downloads, I think is a really good one. Like Moonshot app, which is if you're not familiar, it's like a meme coin. It's like this newer meme coin app for this cycle, where you can kind of just download this app and like deposit via your debit card or bank account or whatever, PayPal, and buy moon coin or buy meme coin straight from an app. So it's like a more normie friendly way of getting into crypto and buying lower cap meme coins. Those downloads saw like an all time high as well, and also I wanted to shout out this really good app rank Twitter where it continually updates every day what the app rank of Coinbase is, which was a really good indicator last cycle when Coinbase was like the number one downloaded app. That was like coincided with pretty much like the top as well last cycle. Um, let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to find the tweet. So like this is one from I think this was let's see, this is November 22nd. So what was that? Friday of last week. That was when we were like basically trying to go for 100K. Coinbase was 21 out of all apps, right? Number one in finance apps. That's really high. That's like one of the highs so far for this cycle of how high Coinbase was. And then if you look at like today, for instance, it's dropped down to 43, like third now in finance apps. So it does seem like given we weren't able to hit 100K, like people dipped their toes in and have since like backed off a little bit. Like that fervor from outside of crypto has like resided a bit. Um, Now with this pullback that we've had, we've it's like also a pullback with new people coming into the space. So it seems like there is more of an urge for sure, but it's almost like we haven't had the continuation or the confirmation, which I think we will get once we cross 100K. I think that is like the big moment. It's almost like we hit obviously new all time highs, and that was all over the news, and that got a lot of people interested in crypto again. Like even was in my wedding, just like talking to like normie friends and stuff there. They're actually like talking to me about crypto for like the first time and like getting a little excited about it and asking me stuff. And that was like the first time I've really had that this cycle so far. Um, and I think it's still not like near what it will be, or at least what it can be, from a more conservative standpoint. I think we still have like that 100K mark point to reach, and that's when the floodgates start to open because that's when it's all over the news, it's all over headlines. Bitcoin 100K, and that's like kind of I think that's going to be a trigger in the normie people's minds. They're like, wow, like Bitcoin's really $100,000, and I was like fading it from 50K and 20K below and like last cycle. Like I guess it's really here to stay. I guess Trump's implementing all that stuff. I guess I should get involved now. Um, I think that's certainly going to be like the trigger point. So until then, it might be quite choppy. Is I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So you were that meme of the guy in the corner with the drink in his hand, but at your own wedding, where you're like, "They don't know I own a major crypto company," and they're talking to you about crypto. But that's cool, man. That's awesome that that they came to you and started talking to you about it a little bit. Because I don't know, are you kind of like considered the crypto guy in your circles, or do they know what you do, or they just like they just know you're in crypto basically?
Yeah. I mean, everyone at my wedding knew I was in crypto because I know him
Yeah,
well enough. Yeah. Um, but not
that's
like
cool.
not certainly not super in depth. Most people don't really know.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just a crypto guy too, where people talk to me about it, but they don't know exactly what it. And for security reasons, I don't announce everything I do. Like certain people know like
Yeah,
what
I
I do, and I
definitely
try
don't.
to get exactly. Yeah, I get them into MVHQ, and my really close people that I know are interested, I tell them what's going on, but very rarely will I ever tell ever go into detail about what I do exactly. They just know I'm interested in crypto, and that's it. So they'll ask me questions and stuff. But yeah, it's good though. It's fun to see people actually talk about crypto in normal conversation and be in this belief again. And like we see it every cycle, but I think even more this cycle. I think like now anybody will talk to you about crypto. I feel like my dad brings it up more often, and like people that like the news talks about it all the time. Like it's just very different. Of course, though, that also brings a dark side, right? Like I mean, I don't know if you're ready, but we could talk about shitcoins a bit here.
Yeah. We can
Yeah, let's do that.
transition.
Uh, so just a couple of things. We had a on the AI side, we had a couple of like we saw that kind of come back a little bit. We had some good pumps with some of the AI coins. We had this one backed by Alliance DAO actually that came out a few days ago called Father, like FATHA, like father basically, and it's basically another AI agent that uses that green glob from Ghostbusters and makes AI videos and stuff. So far, some good things have come out, but yeah, I mean, whatever he comes out, videos and stuff are fun to listen to, but it's cool to see that another big VC firm has backed one of these tokens and actually did really well. It came out and it instantly rocketed to 50 million. I think people were tracking their wallets closely and tracking the Twitter, actually tracking it and seeing it when they'd launched their new Twitter and when they'd post a contract, and they stealth launched at like 2 or 3 a.m. Eastern on Friday, I think it was, and this thing instantly rocketed from a few hundred K to 50 million in like minutes. It was the most insane pump I've ever seen. It's since then cooled off to the 30 million range, accumulating again. But yeah, I mean, this one here, I'm not saying it'll hit a few hundred million like Cerebro or like Goat did, but it has potential just because of how it's being backed and who's talking about it and stuff. The only thing to worry about it with this one is really how many people got in super early and are still holding millions of dollars worth of token. But yeah, it's nice to see that we're still seeing cooks on the AI side. Well, so this is one I'm tracking more on the meme coin and art side. There's Frick that dropped last night. Same thing happened. It came out. People were tracking the wallet, and all of a sudden it rocketed to like the 9 or 10 million range in minutes. And now it's and it actually 2x overnight because people must have woken up and been like, man, I've been waiting for this frog to drop, Frick FRIC, by a really popular artist, and overnight it 2x to the 18 or 20 million range. So yeah, shitcoins have been still very good if you know how to pick your spots and you're tracking the right things. What we are seeing though is a lot more snipers. People spent crazy amounts to get in on this freak coin. We saw someone spend 20 soul of gas fees basically just to get in early on the early blocks and snipe a lot of the supplies. So as we evolve here, we're starting to see kind of like what we did with NFTs back in the day, where people are paying big money to snipe supplies of coins that are valuable or might be valuable, and we're starting to see a lot more competitiveness on that side. But naturally, when things start getting this good and normies start getting involved and we start opening the floodgates to random people, like weird things start happening too. Where we also had another meta pop up on Pump Fun. Pump Fun, as you guys might know, is that site that anybody could launch a coin on for very cheap. Well, they just started up their new thing where you're allowed to put some live video on your actual token itself. You're streaming live video as the token is pumping, and as basically on their site directly as the chart is up and everything, they could talk to you and stream video and whatever. And at first, we saw some really nice things. Like we saw that guy, Live Token, LIVE. He basically started the trend really, where he went live and he said, "I'm staying alive until I hit 100 million market cap." And he's been live for I think 3 or 4 days now, nonstop, hasn't slept. The coin, unfortunately, is not doing too well because market conditions and stuff. But it's down to two and a
Guy's
half
still
million.
alive.
He's still, I think he's still alive. Hold on. I'll go take a look.
I
No,
saw
he was live
yesterday
last
that the
night.
dude
Yeah,
on the I saw the dude that was on the toilet is still alive.
it looks like
I don't know if,
this guy
at least yesterday when I looked.
yeah, Livecoin might have dipped because he's not live right now. I guess he might have finally said screw this and he took a time off, but he started this trend. And then, yeah, that's the next one I was going to mention was the shitcoin guy. Some guy came up with the perfect ticker, actually, shitcoin, and basically he went live from his toilet and he said he was going to be live from his toilet until 50 million. And guess what? I'm looking now and he's still live. This guy's been live for 4 days straight, sleeping on
It's
his
crazy.
toilet. Like
I think he's
he's
trying to
been,
break the Guinness World Record too, right?
I think
And he's
he
done
is,
that
yeah.
before with other stuff.
Exactly, yeah. His name I think is Normie, and he's come out with he's beaten other records like staying awake for the longest time. I think it was multiple days, more than a week he stayed awake. And what happened was he ended up getting so loopy that they had to call the cops and bring in like medics and everything to look at him and almost force him to just be go out. But I think he ended up pushing through and getting the record. I'm looking at his stream now. He's been live for 85 hours. The guy is going nuts. Okay. And yeah, the coin just hasn't been doing well. I mean, the market has not reacted. Like it did well for a while, went into the 10 or 12 million market cap range, and now it's back down to 2.2. Unfortunately, these kids are just going to lose their minds doing this. But at least he has a goal to keep him going. He wants to get the world record of how many hours basically living on a toilet. Um, so yeah, that was the nice side of it. The ugly side of it that happened after, and I'm not going to mention everything that came out, but people started doing some really really bad stuff on live, right? Because they started a trend of get going live and having people bid on your coin and stuff. And we saw a lot of crazy rugs happen where a lot of people did like first it started with these two guys and then it started going into the sex world a little bit where we saw a lot of like girls getting naked on camera to try to catch bids and then they'd rug the coin and from there it went. I started seeing a lot of people like do hard drugs, you know what I mean, on stream. It just got started getting really ugly. Like a lot of the scum of the earth started coming onto the site and making money. So yeah, some really racist stuff started popping up, and some really really like bad stuff. People pulling out guns, people hurting other people, like just really nasty things. And we've seen a lot of backlash towards Pump Fun. But during all this, it feels like like right before the really nasty stuff started coming out, they tweeted something like horrible. I don't know if you saw it, Jake. I'm gonna look for it now, and I think they tried to
No, I
joke
haven't.
about it. I'll put it in chat. It looks like they tried to joke about it, but in the end, it looked like almost, hey, go ahead and do this on our platform. We love it. Hold on, let me try to find on this. Here we go. Like, who tweets this? Check this out. Pump Fun itself. Live share on Pump Fun is getting bigger by the day. Here are 4 easy ideas you can try out as new creators on Pump Fun. Share fun moments with friends. It's that kid that rugged everybody and has fuck yous, right? The second one, breaking and entering, but dressed as Santa. And then the third one is show off your personality, but it's that amaranth girl half naked. And yeah, so this is almost like they're saying, "Hey, come onto our platform and do all these disgusting things. We won't shut you down." And I know they probably wanted this to come off as a joke, but the subliminal message is clear. They're just telling you, "Hey, you know what I mean? Come do whatever you want." And I feel like the floodgates kind of opened, and really nasty things started going onto this platform. And luckily, the more logical people and more moral people in the space started speaking out, and they started getting more strict on it. But it's the ugliest I've ever seen crypto was really during this week, and I hope we don't go down that road because sure, crypto's getting more popular and stuff, and this was naturally going to happen as we let more people in and make it easier for people to get involved. Not every type of person is get involved, even the people we don't agree with and the immoral people, but it doesn't mean we have to make it easy for them either. Like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, things like this should not be happening, and we should not stand up for this. So, I completely, I never even opened their streams. I didn't want to be involved with this stuff, but I just wanted to put it out there that this was happening, and it's not the road we want to be going down. So, if you're against it, obviously stand up against it and say something because it's just been nasty. I think you picked the right weekend to get married and not get involved, Jake.
Yeah, it seems like it for sure. Um, yeah, I'd say with all this stuff, it's like I also just don't understand why they're taking this stance. Like even if you like threw morals out the window and just from like a business purpose, like they're making an insane amount of money, but they're like asking to like they're like putting a target on their head by not doing anything about this. from
Yeah,
like government agencies to get shut down, right?
that's what I thought too. Yeah,
And for competitors to come in, which there are a lot of people obviously building competitive products because there's an insane market fit for something like Punk Fun and the same amount of money to be made as well. So there's a lot of people looking to get a piece of that pie from them. So it's kind of dumb what they're doing by allowing all this stuff. I certainly see like the crypto maxis talking about like I know like the hardcore decentralized maxis like are against censorship. Uh, but when it comes to like, I mean, there's some bad stuff like violence and obviously super racist stuff too, and stuff that's being allowed on here. That's just like a pretty bad stain just on the industry as well. Um, I get like the degeneracy of stuff, and I'm usually like pretty. I'm usually I have like a pretty wide, I guess, tolerance for that kind of stuff.
same
But
here.
I think I agree that like the stuff I've seen has certainly like crossed a bit of a line, and I don't understand. I would guess like they're probably gonna do something about it and change and like realize that they're probably in the wrong. I'm seeing like I'm looking at the founder Elon, his Twitter account, and it looks like he hasn't tweeted, which he usually tweets a lot. He hasn't tweeted since like yesterday, like 21 hours ago. And I'm guessing that's because they're probably like he probably doesn't want to say anything until like they form some type of a response. 'Cause I
I
think
agree.
it's like definitely heated up over the past 24 hours. I've seen a lot of tweets out there about this stuff.
Yeah, it definitely heated up after like this tweet here was 3 or 4 days ago. So they kind of in a way ironically front ran the ugly stuff that was coming. So this tweet looks much worse
Uh,
than it did,
yeah,
right? This was
that's
on the 22nd, but it already had started slowly. So they did it, they probably never envisioned it to get this bad where people are literally doing meth on stream and like fentanyl and doing really really nasty things. And now I feel like they're probably going into not panic mode, but they're going into mop up duty where they have to kind of clean up the platform because they will get shut down. This is gonna get serious fast. So yeah, this kind of front ran it, but still, I mean, they did start taking off some live videos and they're getting more strict about censoring the nasty things. But I definitely think they're gonna have to put some sort of thing in place where maybe you have to get verified to go live, or like it can't stay like this where they're gonna have to put like 10 people monitoring every, you know what I mean, like they need to do something about like monitoring that platform better. And I feel like that's probably why they got a little bit more strict with it. They're going to be shutting down live feeds more often until they have a really good structure in place. But yeah, hopefully this is the bottom because Pump Fun had a good positives going for it. Sure, it allowed people to start rugging easier and stuff, but it also allowed people to launch fairly. So there's two sides of it really. There's one side that, hey, this is a good way of us launching our coin fairly without holding too much supply and making sure the distribution is decent and making sure the market kind of like controls what the outcome of our coin, which led to a lot of good like upside movement for a lot of these coins, right? And the other side of it is there's all these disgusting things that kind of need to be censored and taken away from the market in general. So we'll see where we land. I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle. But I don't think Pump Fun's dead. I just think they're going to get a little bit maybe a few slaps on the wrist here going forward, and hopefully they get back on track. But that was it. That's all I really had on shitcoins. If anybody has a view or an opinion, go ahead. Like, we're always an open forum here. You can jump up here and just give us your thoughts, suggestions, and hey, even show us your coins if you think we have a blind spot for it. Floor is yours.
Yo, what's up,
um,
Jinzo?
What's up,
what
bro?
up,
What's
Ross?
going on?
What up, dude? Jake, congratulations, by the way, bro. Huge.
Thanks, man. Thank you very much.
Um, I just want to dive in or chime in because I've been really deep diving into these AI tokens over the past couple of weeks here, and I think that's like where I'm spending most of my attention, and I would definitely recommend looking into a lot of it as well. I was pretty late with Goat and then Zerebro, but or Cerebro, but I think just the more I'm reading from AI researchers and people who are trading, and you can even see from a lot of the KOLs in the space, like just this emerging narrative of what AI agents and AI swarms are going to be able to do on Twitter and sort of like the use cases is pretty endless. And I think the big thing is just that we see a lot of these pockets where shitcoins get a revival and very quickly they sort of decay into some of the stuff that Jinzo was mentioning, just sort of this like, it's never been at this level of just like inappropriate streams on pump fun, but it really does get to a point where it's just like, okay, here's cat with cheeseburger attacked by squid, just like very random stuff, and just very quickly we kind of run through all of the possible memes. And I really would imagine we start to see this AI narrative become sort of the next iteration of the big thing in crypto. So we had NFTs, and we had shitcoins. I just think the possibility for AI, especially AI agents, is going to be absolutely crazy. And I mean, I think as far as stuff like Goat and Cerebro have run, I think we're going to see them run harder. And I think that there's going to be plenty of new platforms that come out and offer these AI agents. But I think just this new narrative that's forming of potential utility uh, for a crypto based asset, stuff where it's important to be on chain, and then any of this infrastructure that can help them scale with data and compute power is going to be pretty huge. So just wanted to chime in with that stuff. Just because in terms of shitcoining, like I've really tried to focus less on sort of the memes and more so on the emerging projects with utility. And so far, I think it's been a good shift. And to your guys' point from this episode, I still think it is pretty earlier in the cycle. So I think just taking time to research and learn more about AI is a pretty positive EV move.
Yeah, I love that. I don't think AI stuff's going anywhere. It's still I mean we talked about this in the past, but it's certainly one of, if not the most like dominant narrative even in like traditional finance, with Nvidia. We can see that in Nvidia, who's the main processor or whatever, sorry, semiconductor uh what's it called, manufacturer, sorry, I can think of the word, as like one of the biggest, obviously, if not, I'm not sure what it is right now, I don't I'll try to find it, but it was at least the biggest market cap company in the world. And that's largely due to the bullishness on AI's future in general, and it just makes sense that that would obviously continue over on in the crypto world, especially when we're finding use cases for AI developers to fund their own AI agents, and like giving the ability for these agents to use crypto as well, as like their own currency. So it is, I agree, it's all super interesting. I think there's a ton of upside, especially from here. I mean, the biggest AI coin is still under $1 billion. I think Goat's like 700K or something right now. And Zero Bro is like 400K. Sorry, million, not
Million,
K.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, 400K, bro. Where do I bid? Give
Yeah,
me up.
yeah, it's really nice dip opportunity.
Oh, what a dip.
um, um, but yeah, I agree. I agree, Ross. I think that's sharp. It's hard. It's certainly hard for me. I don't have like a extensive experience with a lot of this AI stuff, and there's a lot out there right now. There's obviously like new ones popping up every single day that seem really promising to me. So it's hard to choose, but I do think as a sector, it will continue to grow, especially if you can bet on the right ones. Um, they can do really well. I think in general, just as a very like big picture like strategy for me personally is just with all these coins is just trading attention. That's that's what I look at, is like what's gonna get attention in the future, right? And I want to be early to that. I personally I haven't had much meme coin exposure, or sorry, AI coin exposure besides like Go early on, which I certainly fumbled a massive bag of. But personally, I really like Zero Bro. I think it's gonna flip Go as like the top one. I just see, again, like the attention for Zero Bro seems to be a lot higher than what it is for Goat. And it also seems more advanced than Goat is, given that it's like an artist as well. Even though Goat did just release like a Spotify track or whatever, but it did it after Zero Bro had already done that. It's almost like it's copying Zero Bro now, which obviously would make Zero Bro more of the leader in that sense. Um, and it obviously has like a generative art PFP collection now in Zero Borns that are doing really well. And the devs are just constantly updating right? And the token itself is made by the Zero Bro team, whereas Goat is more of a community token. So I think that also gives help to Zero Bro. Um, so yeah, I over the weekend I actually put in a big position into Zero Bro, since I finally had some liquid available from leverage trades that I did. So I just didn't want to be left behind on the AI train, and I just wanted to bet on one that it seemed like was a winner, and I think we still have just like a lot of multiples to go for this sector in general, in my opinion. Um, Given like the novel use cases that we continue to see every day pop up.
Yeah, we've it was pretty funny to see yesterday too. I know you got in there too and looked at it a little bit. The AI Ansem, like there's some funny applications coming out that like they've had me rolling, man. Like the whoever put that together yesterday, sure. I mean, it was probably a very simple model, but it was done well, and it was interacting with chat and singing the songs we were putting out there and singing them well. It was just hilarious, telling us stories and stuff. I mean, you can tell it's still kind of rough, but if someone really like works on their model, they'll like give it a few months, and we're gonna be seeing some pretty crazy AI agents, some really realistic ones. And I mean, we've talked about it in the past where it's gonna grow from here, and we saw it even when it came to AI images, how fast they turned into like from having weird hands to being perfect. Like it took a few months, and then from there we got some really really realistic AI video come out within another few months. So I mean, it's we're on an interesting path here. Yeah, sure, it could be a little scary at the same time, but there's just so much that's fascinating with it too. Like that AI anthem yesterday just had me rolling for hours just listening to it sing and interact with chat and giving people shit. I mean, it's cool. It just shows like I know it was very raw, but it still shows the power and where we're headed here, and it's fascinating.
Yeah, glad you guys share the same sentiment. I would say like the biggest thing, at least for my mind, for AI plays is that more so even than shitcoins, it can just get saturated so fast. So like the biggest understanding is that these AI agents, there's a back end to tweak them up. So they're basically just instances of like ChatGPT or Claude, and you can consider those engines, and they can make tweaks on the back end to make them different. So a lot of these AI chat agents have the same engine where it's just an instance of ChatGPT with like a filter on top of it. So like if you pull up ChatGPT and you say like ChatGPT, talk to me like you're a pirate, it'll be like R, okay then, right? And like a lot of these chatbots are basically just that. So I think a big thing when looking at these AI agents, at least that I'm trying to do, and I would definitely just say as more and more of them come out, I would look for this as well, is look for developers who are actually tweaking the back end. So that's why Cerebro stands out so much, is because he's constantly changing the back end, the engine. So it's not just the same AI instance as everything else. And there's stuff that really differentiates its responses. This is like pretty evident just from watching Waifu, where they, basically made that Eliza modeling and released a bunch of models. The um, like head AI agent for those companies as they develop, I think is always going to be a good bet because that's sort of the leader of that infrastructure. But then all of the ones that come out after it, I think a lot of those are going to just be pump and dumps. Like I'm sure there's going to be AI agents that become pseudo celebrities and people just really like those and those will send. But more often than not, those AI agents are like pretty indistinguishable from one another. So I think the better bet is just to look for people who are really developing the backends and are making stuff that's like pushing the needle in terms of AI innovation. And I think just those AI agents, like most of the time, are going to be a bit of a trap to fall into. So just wanted to shout those out for people who are beginning their AI journey. I think that's going to be a pretty significant theme you'll see.
Yeah, good shouts for sure. Not always easy to navigate, you know.
Ross,
But
do you have any you have any sorry, Jinzo.
no, no, you're good. You're good.
I thought
I
you
didn't have much to add anyway.
I was gonna say, Ross, do you have any like obviously besides like the bigger ones, any like up and coming ones that you've seen lately that really caught your eye?
There's this one on Base Network called Virtuals, and they're basically like an AI agent launching platform. So they're pretty known right now, but they're only at 250 mil. So I think they offer decent upside. On there, there's a token called AIXBT, which is an agent that's working to give like meme coin updates and actually gives you analysis of the market. I don't think it has like enough capabilities quite yet to make like huge plays, but it does give some pretty good updates on coins, especially if you follow it on Twitter. There's like some pretty good callouts that it has. I also really like, just from an infrastructure perspective, Near Protocol, which is a little bit annoying to trade, but you can find it on like most perp exchanges. And then Render. So both of those work for basically providing compute power. Render more so, I think, is a really good one. You can just look up like Render token. But Render's awesome because it's basically, if you wanted to like render an AI video locally, it might take you upwards of 150 hours. But with Render, you can borrow some of their compute power and render something that would take hundreds of hours in like 20 minutes. So just knowing that there's going to be so much AI being generated in this cycle, so much content from AI that is, and just how much compute power that's going to be, I think Render could be a pretty solid bet on this space.
Yeah, awesome picks. Appreciate the shout. I actually forgot I was gonna bring up AIXBT. I think it's really cool. Like AI, the answer just said. It's a great Twitter. You should add it to notifications as well. Here's the Twitter. But it like basically posts like a few tweets in a row in a thread, and it'll give like an update on like important statistics around a certain thing, as well as like the bull case, and it like legit doesn't seem like an AI agent is tweeting. It seems like a normal person because if you like reply to it, it'll just like talk like a normal degen, um, which is kind of funny, but it does have really good alpha in my opinion. So I'd recommend following it. If you want to put on notifications, you can. It does tweet a lot, so it could be a little spammy, but um, it has really nice alpha. I would certainly recommend AI XBT. I think I might have to add a bag of it. I don't know. I've been kind of watching it a bit, but maybe if we get a decent dip.
Yeah, Jake,
Thanks.
another good. Oh, go ahead, Jinzo. Sorry.
I was gonna say thanks for the shout. I didn't know about this one, but just scrolling through, it's actually really, really good.
I was gonna say another good Twitter follow is underscore Kaito AI, KAITO AI. It's really nice. I think they have like a pretty premium subscription model, so it's not like at a user base level, but they have a lot of really good tweets just on mindshare, which is great. So it'll kind of just tell you like on a daily basis, here are the top KOLs by mindshare, here are the top AI projects by mindshare. So they're always just kind of tweeting out like, here's what coins are occupying space, and I think that's just going to be really important. Another thing with AI that just sort of sticks out to me is that as good as the models can be, a lot of it is just going to depend on who's using it, right? So I'm sure there is more advanced AI than Cerebro that's already out, but like it's already established itself in that mind share spot. So that Kai account I think is just a good one to follow to keep in terms of like what's hot right now, what's up and rising, and I think making early bets on AI as it's gaining popularity is going to be like pretty nice opportunity to swing trade this cycle.
That AIXBT Twitter has a link to a Soul shitcoin too. That's, I guess, run by them, and it's only at 1.5 million market cap. I feel like that's super cheap. I know they're more base, and the base one's much higher. But that just sounds like so cheap for for a Soul shitcoin that's basically AI, just like anything else that we've seen.
Yeah, I haven't looked into that. I don't know why. I saw them tweet about something like they're gonna convert it to base or something. It might be. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on there. Let's see.
I guess it'll be good
It might
research
be
for this
matching
week.
price.
It might be if they're converting to base, then it's probably not worth buying the Soul one at all. But just something to research for this week, I guess. I'll take a look at this today, later today. But yeah, thanks for putting it on my radar. This looks cool. They have a lot of good info on that Twitter. Speaking of AI agents, I've been having fun watching. I forgot what. Oh, it's the Flower one, Flower AI, Flowy on Twitter. It's basically a trading bot that follows wallets and trades according to buys and sells on other people's wallets and he follows them in. I've been watching him get wrecked, absolutely wrecked, trying to follow some of the Frank D God's trades. It's been hilarious. Like he'll sell his position a few minutes in and be like, "Wow, I just took a bad hit, minus 50% on my position." It's just been so much fun to follow like the wins and losses. I'll try to find it flowy, but yeah, it just flowy. Is it flowy AI? Flow. I'll try to find it and put it in chat though. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out with like that kind of narrative, is it the initial leaders or the performers that are gonna outperform during the cycle? I think it's probably a mixture of both, but probably the leaders because apparently the terminology for these trading bots that are coming out is clankers. So there's like a
Anchor.
whole subreddit of like clankers and stuff. There is like a clanker token that just launched as well, which is actually kind of cool. It's like a project they launched on Warpcast. You could check that out. It's $ clanker. But yeah, like as these clankers come out, I feel like it's just really easy to be like, oh, like this clanker just made big profit. I'm gonna follow it. But then like most of these clankers are profitable because they launch their own meme coins and they own like 10% of it. So they just start like in the millions profit. So it'll be interesting to see, but I've already just seen like dozens of those over the weekend to the point where it's like, damn, I want to bet on the AI space, but now it's already flooded with like the unique bot. Now there's clones and clones and clones. So it'll be interesting to navigate for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna mention Clanker too because I think like a month ago we were trading the one on Soul, and we're all excited about it because the name was perfect and everything. And now just a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago, one comes out on base and absolutely rips, bro. Everybody's talking about this Clanker bot. I think it's at in the
Yeah.
60 or 70 million. You saw that, Jake? 60 or 70 million market. I was gonna mention you. I was gonna be like, yo, I was gonna tag you and be like, Jake, I think you're rich, bro. Are you still holding Clanker? Is it dust or is it at 70 million? And then I noticed it was base. I'm like, wow, can't believe we were that early and on the wrong chain again.
Classic, too early to the terminology. Whatever. I know. I like that the soul one too, but it never worked out. And then base one. Oh well. Yeah, the clanker
Base.
on base seemed cool. I didn't look too much into it, but I think I saw something briefly about it. I honestly can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's basically like you can tweet at them to launch a token. So you can just like tweet them a photo or like a synopsis of what you want your tweet to be, and then they'll launch it for you for free. And then if your token ends up being like a banger, you'll get some cash back from it.
Oh,
That's
that's
the
interesting.
TLDR.
That's very interesting. Base is coming out with some nice stuff. I mean, a lot of the more respectable ones I feel like have started moving to base. Even Zeneca, he was saying, man, I'm gonna let everybody play on shit on Soul shit coins. I'm just gonna go on base because I have a feeling there's opportunity there." And he started moving over, and he was right. Like he was, I think he started doing that over a week ago now, and it just feels like quietly base is winning market share, and while everybody's distracted on Soul and losing money on the Soul Casino, I feel like there's a lot of good things happening on base for a lot less risk. And it's like I'm not seeing too much of it either on the timeline. Everybody's just so focused on Solana.
Dude, I know. I got to get back on Warpcast. It seems like that's where everyone's talking about these base projects, but completely agree, Jinzo. There's like so many good agents coming out on base, and people don't cheat as aggressively over there.
Exactly. It's like a nice mix of Solana and ETH mainnet, but a little bit more towards the ETH mainnet. The only thing that bothers me with base is how easy it is to get scammed and how many scam tokens come out, and what I mean, like how many tokens get airdropped to you. It's just that side of it is so annoying to me, and that's kind of why I've never went deeper into it. But I mean, it's manageable if you really, you know what I mean. It's manageable if you're gonna make profit and you know how to navigate. You can make good gains. It's just so easy to buy into the wrong token that looks exactly the same. You type it into the search bar, and they found a way to spoof it to run it up to millions of dollars without it actually being there. So if you're not careful, you're buying the wrong things, and you're buying honeypots, and you're buying a lot of the nasty stuff that's on that chain. But at the same time, there's opportunity there. So just be very, very cautious of that, and cognizant of that if you do go into the base ecosystem where it's very easy to get duped. Yeah, thanks, Ross. That's a lot of good info there.
Yeah, thanks as always, guys, for letting me chime in. I've just been really amped up over it. I really do think it's going to be like the next major paradigm shift of Web3. It's giving me super early to NFT vibes, where I just think a lot of it's going to be identifying early winners and just staying in them for a couple months. But yeah, stoked to chat about it with you guys.
Perfect. Yeah, we're way over the 1 hour mark. But Jake, you want to get us into Pirate Nation? We do an overview of that, and we'll close it out here. Unless you had other topics to talk about, I have nothing
Um,
to do today.
yeah, we can just do a quick recap. I mean, unfortunately, it wasn't that big of a deal because it was very disappointing, I'd say, as far as launches go for Pirate Nation. Um, yeah, the token is only like I don't even know what it is right now, like 15 cents or 14 cents or whatever, and I think a lot of people were pretty underwhelmed with the airdrop that happened for the season closed. I think Friday or something, Friday or Saturday, and that's when the airdrop happened. And uh, yeah, it was just underwhelming, I'd say. And assets are down for sure for Pirate Nation. The Pirates are down. Looks like down 13% on the week, sitting at about 0.59 floor at the moment. Um, so yeah, I guess I just wanted to bring that up. But I guess I don't really have much analysis. Besides, like I think most people who are in Pirate Nation are now out if they don't want to farm anymore, and those who believe are probably still just like farming ahead. But I did want to at least open it up for discussion on that.
Oh, that's interesting. So it was an airdrop. I didn't even notice. Like, I don't go on my wallet as much as I used to. So it wasn't even a claim. It was an airdrop. It should be in my wallet, if anything.
No, it's a claim.
It's a claim. Okay,
I
okay,
just
okay.
meant yeah, I just meant it was yeah,
I gotta look into that. I play every single day. Again, I'm so bad at timing these exits. I know I should have exited a long time ago, thinking first airdrop is usually where the money is. The game's bullish, but the assets are still at 1 ETH, and ETH is ripping. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, I should just dump everything right now. What am I doing? And again, just like with everything else, I ended up holding way too many, way too long, and like I knew it. When everybody's too bullish, it's time to sell into that. You know what I mean? I still love the
yeah.
game. I still play, and I will play. It just felt like I should get out, and I didn't. I'm just so good at holding things. We'll see though. Whatever it is, it is what it is. I mean, I'm still way up. Like we bought these things super cheap, so it's not like I'm down at all. And I feel like if they keep building, maybe we'll grind back up. But I don't. I also don't believe an asset for a game should be in the thousands of dollars. So as ETH rips, it's just going to be harder and harder to hold these. And I think they're not gonna go into the. At least I don't think they'll go into the 1 or 2 ETH range if there's no airdrops, and they're gonna be weak airdrops. So maybe they bleed out more from here.
If they do become nodes, which is what everyone's been saying, right? Then I think it is possible that they can go up at that point. But I think the bigger opportunity is in the token. To be honest with you, it's still only a $30 million token right now, right?
Cheap, yeah.
With tons of every day tokens going up to hundreds and hundreds of $1 million. So I think a target price of Pirate, looking at actually last cycle where it was obviously a very very successful one, but there weren't as many games, right? And we still haven't had that gaming push this cycle. I don't know, man. Like target price of $1, a couple dollars for a Pirate token, I don't think it's ridiculous, to be honest with you.
That was my initial thought too, and it just hasn't done that. But I guess it's like you said, the attention is not on gaming right now. We're actually lucky that it even held this floor for this long. It's been hovering in the 15 to 20 cent range forever, right? And yeah, sure, they just diluted it, I guess, with more token, but I figured the impact would be greater, and that might be why they didn't drop so much of it either. They want farming to last a while, and they don't want to over dilute the token because yeah, people might be complaining about the airdrop, but if they would have doubled the supply, our token would have been cut in half anyway. So would you actually be winning? You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean you can't expect a large airdrop without it affecting the market in general. And if the token drops, the assets will drop too. And I don't think it would have been sustainable to just double, for example, just as an example, double the supply instantly, right? So yeah, it always should be noted that the first unlock is always going to be larger. And then you'll either get a drip on some ecosystems or you'll get a second smaller airdrop like we've seen it many times, sometimes even harder to farm for the second and oftentimes a lot less profitable just because of, how large the initial unlock was.
I mean, this team is like very very phenomenally good, as you guys know, and or at least I think so. And
They are. Yeah.
this is just one of these, to me at least, like one of these it's rare to get an opportunity with as much upside as this to take token, specifically to take token and stake for pop. I think that's a really big opportunity. And
True.
if it hits, it could be huge. But who knows if it's if it's going to hit or what's going to happen. But I feel like a lot of upside right now at a consolidated 30 million, and where you can stake that token as well, especially if you have multiple accounts to be able to stake it. Where you can sell if there was like a price pop to 50 cents or $1 on one of them, right? But still keep your pop multiplier going.
I'd
I
say,
need to go to
yeah,
the games. Go ahead, Jake.
I'd say my thoughts are, I don't think, like, if you sold out and like you're disappointed, I don't blame you like for 1 second. I think it's I think it's probably going to be a longer road to realize gains, but like you said, I do think there's a lot of upside. Obviously, the big thing that people are hoping for is the pop token, which is their proof of play, multi-chain token, where they hope is like obviously like the mainstay of their entire ecosystem of chains and games and like infrastructure. And that's kind of what people are holding out for at this point. But I certainly get it if you're just like whatever, fuck it, like I'm just gonna sell everything and move on to something else. Like that's probably not a bad idea either. I think it's more so like if you believe in the team to execute, then you're probably gonna stick with it. That's currently what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm gonna be like as active farming it, but in terms of just like staking, I just decided to claim and stake my airdrop or whatever because it wasn't enough for me to like really move the needle to sell at the moment. Um, but yeah, I think it's really just like if you don't believe, that's fine. Just like sell it and move on to something else. If you do believe, then you're probably just gonna chill and hold and hopefully it pans out.
Have you been doing your missions every day still? I mean, your gauntlets?
I haven't been as good about them. I probably will start up again. Um, but I might do like I might. I don't know. I haven't really decided if I'm gonna keep up with it as much. I might just do like the token staking and that's it. We'll see.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've been thinking the same. Like I do it when I'm home, but then sometimes I don't feel like it, and I still do it just to keep the multiplier up. And in my head, I was always thinking I'm probably doing this for nothing, playing every single day. Like if you break it down daily, I'm probably making a few cents every day just to keep up with this. So yeah, like my head was in the right place. I just didn't act on it how I should have. And it's yeah, I don't know. I think like Asel said, future is bright. But there's just so much going on in the space that maybe are for some people might want to put their money somewhere else, and that's it's gonna affect it for sure. Yeah. Like at the same time, I have a hard time with games where I'm sure other people are enjoying it, but I'm not gonna start like driving my boat around and clicking around and stuff. I just want to do my gauntlets and be out of there. Like I'm not gonna sit here and waste all my time on a game. And I'm sure a lot of people think like that, but hopefully they can attract the normies that do want to do all that, either with mobile games or with other stuff, and make it seamless for them to use crypto or not use crypto, whatever. As long as they're playing in the ecosystem and growing those numbers, I mean, if they find, and I think they've been doing okay with that, if they find a good way of bridging the two worlds, I mean, this thing can do great numbers. It's just for me personally, I'm not gonna sit there and farm and get all my stats up, and I don't know, just not. I'm not looking to do that right now.
Yeah, I feel you. Cool. I think that's enough on that.
Yeah, yeah, we're done.
Anything else you guys wanted to chat on? We're kind of like we're definitely past the hour mark here. We could probably wrap it up unless there's anything else we missed out.
I think we're good. I'm just gonna shout out our missions. Actually, we have our platform app.mvhu.io. You guys already know you play on that, but there's one that's ending very soon that I think you should get involved in, and that's the Bitcoin Wizards whitelist raffle. It's only for one winner, but yeah, get involved. I mean, that thing I think is going to be worth. And if you're lucky enough to win, you can have a good asset on your hands there. A nice little ordinal, and we also have the Snack Gang guaranteed access that's ending in 3 days. So get in there, do your missions. They don't cost you anything at all. So just you know yeah, go join the whitelist and stuff. That Bitcoin Wizards especially is really hype, so you should be doing that. And As always, check out the field reports. There's nothing too specific to really shout out, but there's always good ones being dropped. I haven't even looked at them too much. Yeah, so basically another one about a new chain by BTC Alchemist. He always comes out with bangers, so that one's probably good. Probably going to be covering a lot in depth about new chains and stuff, and yeah, more about wallet trackers and DeSci. I'm not going to get into this topic now, but the big hot topic on Twitter this week and on Thread Guys streams and stuff has been about decentralized science. So if you want to read a little bit about that, NF Mr. T did a brief overview of what it is, but you're going to be hearing a lot more about decentralized science, and a lot of the big names like CZ and stuff are investing in decentralized science now. So that might be a topic to read into if you want for this coming week. But that's all I have. I don't have much else to really talk about here. You, Jake, all done? Anything else to cover?
No, we're all good. Thank you all. Thanks everyone for chimed in and listened in as well. We're obviously here all week. So if you guys ever want to chat,
Yes, sir. Thank
we
you,
can wrap up
everybody.
the show.
Have
Yeah.
a good week, everybody.
Thank y'all.
Hopefully, new all-time highs in our future in whatever bags you have. See you in the streets.